and welcome to Curbside Chat number 10. As we promised in the last chat, we'll have Dick Payne, our friendly comptroller, discuss our 1989 pricing philosophy and provide some insight on how we compare to our target competition. But first, let's look at our recent sales trends. We finished the 1988 model year about where we expected to be. Our inventory for the most part is clean, and for those models where we do have a higher supply, like the Regal and Electra, we've just announced incentives with very precise starting dates and ending dates to give you the ammunition you need to clear out all our 1988 stock by the year's end. You've seen some articles in the press claiming a poor launch of the Regal or the GM10 program. That's a bunch of baloney. And I'm happy to report that for the last 6 months of the 88 calendar year, the Regal outsold all mid-size coupe competitors, including the T-Bird and the Cougar. During September, both the Century and the Regal individually outsold the Mercury Sable by almost 2 to 1. Now, we've mentioned this in many advertisements, press releases, and mailgrams to all dealers. And I'm going to ask each of you to make sure that your customers are aware of your achievements. Our daily rate of sales for the first 10 days of October has been 43% higher than the same period a year ago. Our forecast for the month is 53,000 deliveries. Now, the momentum in this first month of the model year sets the stage for the months ahead. You've got the ammunition with the rebates in the 88 Regal and Electra, as well as the 89 Skylark and Century. And this doesn't even take into account our very aggressive package discounts of up to $1,200. Make sure your customers understand all the savings they're getting. Now, our objective for November is 48,000 deliveries, compared to about 36,000 deliveries last year. Now, this should be approximately 12,000 deliveries ahead by the end of the month. You know, as we talked at the announcement meeting, it's very important that we keep the proper focus on how we're doing versus all other car manufacturers. We're going to begin by introducing this market share chart, which will hang outside my office as the others do, to remind everyone that this is our scorecard. Sales volume and daily floor traffic are actually only indications of what our market share will be. I'm asking each of you to track your own market share each month, identify your competition, and formulate a plan to steal their customers' business. The very positive trend that you've started with CSI has continued. During the month of August, our overall CSI has stayed above 88, measuring at 88.9. Again, Buick dealers rank #1 among all GM divisions in total dealer satisfaction. Keep it up. I'd like to thank all of you who took the time to write us about the meeting in Las Vegas at the announcement show. We had a lot of fun doing it. We appreciate the participation. We had more dealers and dealer families there than ever before. Again, thank you. Well, I'm very happy to say that the launch of the 89 Century and Riviera is beginning right on target. Now, this chart shows a comparison of the 88 Century at introduction to the new 89 Century at the same time. And as you can see, there's a nice pickup between the two lines. Now, this compares the launch of the 88 versus the 89 Riviera. Again, another nice pickup. Our sold order bank is growing, and as a matter of fact, our Riviera order bank is 3 times what it was 1 year ago. It's extremely important that we turn every car as fast as possible so we can earn more production. And we told you in Las Vegas that Classic is back. The Skylark, with the changes you've asked for in the bench seat, column shift, and analog gauges, provides a great opportunity for plus business in 1989. You know, the compact segment will be as strong in 89 as it was in 88, accounting for nearly 2 million new car sales. Now, comparing Skylark to some of its compact competitors, like the Mercury Topaz and the Honda Accord, which have annual volumes of 1.5 and 5 times greater, respectively, than the Skylark. They also have smaller displacement base engines, less torque, standard manual transmissions versus our automatic in the Skylark, to name just a few. Use all the resources available, the competitive manual and Dick Payne's pricing information, to educate your prospects on Skylark's advantages. Let's get a fair share, and even a little more, of the compact market in 1989. Now, we realize that you could have sold more LeSabres last year. For 1989, we've made a special deal with Buick City to make sure that we have the supply we need and when we need them this year. This production schedule shows the planned monthly production for LeSabre throughout the 1989 model year. As you can see, the schedule calls for Buick City to go down and tool up for a second shift prior to the spring selling season. Now, to receive those cars when we need them, we've got to sell all we have now as fast as we can. And now, to help you become even more competitive, I'd like to introduce Dick Payne, our comptroller, to tell you about our very competitive pricing for 1989. Dick?
Thanks, Ed, for that kind introduction. Today I'm going to cover Buick's 1989 pricing strategy, and I'd like to focus on three main areas: option package strategy, 1989 pricing, and the competitive environment. In 1988, Buick initiated aggressive value option packaging strategy, and this continues into 1989. In fact, Buick offers a greater variety of packages in '89, allowing you greater flexibility in meeting the needs of consumers in your specific markets. These packages give us the ability to emphasize automobiles with higher levels of equipment, helps us emphasize premium American motor cars, and helps Buick simplify our overall product lineup. But most important to you, these option packages are strongly preferred by the consumer. To illustrate, GM conducted surveys of actual purchasers of 1988 automobiles, asking them their preference concerning different types of incentives. What follows are two charts summarizing results of these surveys. Note that the red bar represents the percent of purchasers preferring option package savings, while the blue bar represents the percent of purchasers preferring a cash rebate. On this chart, we have separated purchasers based on the type of vehicle purchased. The compact and mid-size segment option packages are preferred by almost a 2-to-1 ratio, with 55% preferring option packages versus 28% favoring rebates. For the large and luxury car purchasers, option packages were preferred on almost a 3-to-1 ratio, with 58% preferring option package savings. Another way of looking at this data is by household income levels. For those purchasing a new car in 1988 with household income under $55,000, 58% preferred the option package. For those with a household income over $55,000, the preference is even greater. 73% preferred option package savings. Focusing externally on our competition, Ford has used a version of value option packages over the last few years, as many of you know. We believe this is a major factor to their success in the use of their preferred equipment packages. Also, Chrysler has increased their use of packages in 1989, increasing both the number of option packages available and the savings associated with these packages. Make sure to use these option package savings as part of your total selling strategy. The maximum package savings available for 1989 are shown here, and they range from $500 up to $1,200 on the Skylark. Now, to help communicate these savings more effectively, Buick will begin to use a new price label in 1989. The new label will begin appearing on LeSabres in November of this year, and we're planning to have all new Buicks using this label by January of 1989. Standard equipment is clearly displayed and better organized on the left side of the label, while the option package content and discount is clearly and boldly displayed on the right side of the label. However, rest assured that value option packages will not be Buick's only incentive strategy for 1989. As we have already seen on Century and Skylark, Buick will initiate rebates to give specific car lines an additional sales boost. Value option packages are the foundation upon which Buick's 1989 pricing strategy is based. Remember, premium American motor car customers expect well-equipped automobiles from Buick. Value option packages enable you to offer well-equipped automobiles while providing significant savings versus many competitive products. Moving now to competitive pricing, GM increased prices 2.9% from 1988 to 1989, which is basically in line with other domestic and foreign manufacturers. However, an interesting item to note is the 4-year average price increase on domestic cars versus import products. As shown, GM's price increase over 4 years is competitive with Ford, but substantially below Japanese manufacturers. Note, Chrysler at 6.3% is the lowest, but if you exclude the America series, their increase is about 11%. Head-to-head comparisons will focus upon Buick's core products: Skylark, Century, Regal, and LeSabre. All of the following comparisons use packages where they were available and equipment levels were matched as closely as possible. All the following comparisons utilize the same format. The first column describes the cars being analyzed. The second column contains base car retail price data, while the third column contains popularly equipped retail price information. For example, the Skylark Custom Sedan on a popularly equipped basis is $1,646 below the LeBaron Highline. Moving to a Honda Accord DX, the Skylark Custom Sedan enjoys about a $2,100 price advantage. Turning to the Century Custom Sedan versus the Sable GS has about a $183 advantage popularly equipped. Looking at the Century Custom versus the Toyota Camry Deluxe, we have about an $1,100 price advantage popularly equipped. Turning to the Regal Custom versus the LeBaron Highline Coupe has about a $400 popularly equipped advantage. And lastly, looking at the LeSabre versus the LeSabre Custom Sedan versus the Ford Crown Victoria, we have about a $600 popularly equipped price advantage. And again, looking at the LeSabre Custom Sedan versus the Mercury Grand Marquis GS, we have about a $725 popularly equipped advantage. Let's turn now to leasing. Another way Buick has given you a competitive advantage in 1989 is the Smart Lease program. In the past, it has been difficult to capture customers committed to leasing import vehicles, as the following chart shows. This comparison assumes equal pricing. Note Accord's traditional advantage on a monthly payment basis of $12.73. However, when GMAC's Smart Lease is used to figure the Regal 48-month lease payment, note what happens. In this example, the bottom line advantage is simple. Leasing has been turned from a disadvantage to a competitive advantage. And now GMAC Smart Lease is available on most new 1989 Buicks. Buick has an exciting pricing story for the 1989 model year. What we've done is give you the headlines. The rest of the story is contained in head-to-head comparisons provided with this tape, as well as a competitive manual and action library. I'd like to close with a commercial I saw the other night. This happened to be a Honda Civic commercial, and it went something like, "That was then, and this is now." Honda shows an old Civic model, and then today's Honda Civic sedan. What they fail to mention in the statement is the comparable price. The most expensive Honda Civic sedan in 1982 had a base price of $6,749. Today's most expensive Honda Civic sedan has a base price of $10,150, a 50% increase. The bottom line is this. In 1982, Buick could not compete against Honda on the basis of price. They would beat us by over $1,000 on almost any deal. Today, you can use pricing as a significant advantage. The 1989 Skyhawk, equipped with any value option package is a very well equipped premium American motor car. And the base price advantage of $865 and a popularly equipped price advantage approaching $1,300 over a Civic LX. That was then, and this is now. Make sure you're communicating Buick's premium value and premium content to all your customers. And now, let's return to our general manager and team leader, Ed Mertz. Ed?
Thanks, Dick. You know, nationally, the Riata awareness is just not at the level it needs to be. Our short-term advertising plans call for increasing that awareness. However, each one of you can do your part in displaying the car in high-profile places such as country clubs and upscale malls. You can also loan a Riata to local community leaders to generate the cheapest form of advertising available. Remember, the probability of a Riata sale is doubled with a demo drive. Take advantage of the demo program we're offering and put prospects behind the wheel of a Riata. Because our volume with this car, which has been lauded by the press and by most all of you, is always going to be low compared to most of our other car lines, it's increasingly important that you do everything possible to create that Riata awareness. And now let's have some of your questions. As I've mentioned a few times, we read every question. I read them, we pass them to our staff for action or for information or whatever the occasion may be. We can't answer them all on the chats, but we do read them all and we do pay attention to them, so keep them coming. We got a number of them the last couple of times on acid rain, and we know acid rain is a very serious problem, and we are taking action to try to alleviate it. We don't have the answer, I'll have to be honest with you, but we're looking at a coating that we can apply at the assembly plant that will protect the paint during delivery and during storage at your facility. However, it must be removed before you deliver it to the customer. So there's some extra work involved in that. But we think it will help. We're running tests now to make sure there aren't some other problems with it. So that's one solution. GM is also working with the paint companies to reformulate our paints so they'll be more impervious to acid rain. But that's not a near-term solution, nor do we have paints that will really address the problem fully. So we appreciate the input, we know about it, and we're working hard to try to help you with it. Wire wheel covers. We have a comment from Joseph Brennan of Kingston, Pennsylvania. He said, wire wheel covers on all models. After 5 years of selling Buicks, can't understand why the problem of wire wheel covers clicking has yet to be alleviated. Well, I have some good news in some of our car lines. For the 1989 Rivieras, a new wheel cover went in for start of production, so they should be quiet. On the Skylark, on October 1st, a new cover went in production. And on the Electra and LeSabre lines, on November 1st, a new one's going in. And actually, the LeSabres and Electra Park Avenues had the insulator kit from start of production in 1989, so they should be quiet with the kit. Actually, about 69% of Buick's volume should be covered right now with the quiet covers, and we're working very quickly to get the sources tooled up to do the rest of them. There's a bulletin out on using the insulator kit for complaint cars. That's bulletin number 88-3-22. We've also had a number of cards on the demonstrator program asking us why the demonstrator program was eliminated for 1989. Basically, it's to try to become more efficient with our funds in creating traffic and awareness for Buick to bring customers to you. That money is being used this year for advertising, promotion, and incentives. And so far, all our data shows that it is a more efficient way of spending it and getting customers to you to buy Buicks. So we'll keep an eye on that. We appreciate the input. Here's one from Bob Donneville of Rochester, Minnesota. Why did Buick cheapen the hood ornament on the Park Avenue and take the color out of the tri-shield? As we mentioned before, we did away with our specific shields on car lines to go to the tri-shield on everything. Now on the Park Avenue, in the middle of the grill, we have a tri-shield that is multicolored. And when we tried the stand-up hood ornament in multicolor, and they're very close together, it just didn't look right. So we created a new tri-shield that's clear, and it does go with the other one on the grill. However, it shouldn't look cheap. It should look like a high-quality a piece of jewelry, and we'll take another look at that and make sure we do get them that way. This is from O'Donnell Motors, Bruce McKay of San Gabriel, California. It says, why does Buick offer new features in the order guides and brochures and then restricts or cancels them? I would think that any new feature that made it that far would be thoroughly tested and production ready. Well, we're shortening up the lead times on a lot of things we're doing, including our new car programs. Some of the ones coming on stream here in the next year or two are virtually at world-class lead times. Comparable to the Japanese or anyone, the Europeans, anyone in the world. However, lead times on some things are long, and including all of the paperwork we have to generate that goes along with cars, like owner's guides and ordering guides and so forth. So sometimes we get ahead of ourselves, or problems crop up along the way, and we can't offer a particular option exactly when we say we thought we were going to. So that's what happens there. We apologize. We are trying not to do that in every case, but we have to take risks at some time, so we're going to have problems occasion. Here's one from Gene Moss, it looks like, in Jamestown, North Dakota. He asked to put in a more deluxe steering wheel in Buick, also a more impressive delivery packet for the warranty book and owner's manual. We've got a few comments on steering wheels. Of course, in 1989, our Park Avenue wheel does have the wood grain and the tricolor tri-shield and some other detailing, which we think looks a lot better than the wheel we had last year. But obviously, you're telling us you like them even better, so we'll go back to work and work on future designs that are even more detailed than that. As far as the delivery packet, we have received your input on that for the last couple of times, and we are working to see what we can do that's relatively inexpensive, but looks better than what we have now. Here are two cards on the keyless entry system. This one's from Carol and Marshall Bailey in Glassau, Kentucky, and from Mrs. Malcolm Wright of Coatesville, Pennsylvania. The Baileys say, please change the keyless entry back to the old type, like 1988. It was my favorite option. And the Wrights say, on the 1988 model of the Buick Park Avenue, I really love the keyless entry system on the car door, but do not like the system on the 89 models. The great advantage was that if I locked my keys in the car, I could readily get in. Also, I didn't have to search for my keys until I was safely in the car. Well, there are advantages and disadvantages to the new system. Actually, if you have groceries in both hands, you can have your key in one hand, and as you come up to the car, press the button, the trunk opens, you set them right in. And before, it was difficult to do that. Also, you can come up to the car, and on the cars that have the lighting system, press a button, the lights come on in the car, so you can safely get in. So there are some advantages to it that the other one didn't have. But we are committed to this new system, and appreciate just working with it and see if you can't love it as much as you love the other one. This one's from Terry O'Rourke of Cummings Buick in Santa Monica. So the Park Avenue should have a more expensive looking set of keys in all of our cars, but especially the Park Avenue should have a leather or vinyl wallet for the owner's manuals. I think we just answered that. As far as the keys, we'll take a look at that and see if there isn't something we can't do to make them more expensive looking. This one's from Harvey Hawthorne of Childress Buick in Phoenix, Arizona. It said, 89 Las Vegas show, best ever. Rivs and Centuries are sure winners. Suggest you give us 2 or 3 light colors for LeSabres and Electras and see a 10% increase in sales. Believe it. Well, I believe it. We're working hard on colors. It's difficult to satisfy every everyone on colors. Everyone has a different preference. I realize the Southwest does like certain colors compared to other parts of the country, but Florida is different, and so on and so forth. We do look at sales rates of not only our cars but others as well to predict what might happen in the coming year for colors. It's not an easy job to pick the right ones, but we'll keep working at it. Appreciate your input. This is from Dave Harris. It looks like Thibodaux, Louisiana. It says, help. I see Buick making a great turnaround, but we need to hit two markets we're not in. We need a big Buick back, and we need a smaller import type car in the $6,000 to $8,000 range. Well, we agree with you on the big Buick, and we are working hard on the top end of our line, and I think you'll see something coming down the road in that. As far as the smaller import car, we're just not in that end of the business. As those of you who went to the Las Vegas announcement show and have seen other meetings that we've hosted, we're focusing in on a certain part of the market, and it's basically from $40,000 to $75,000 income people, and basically domestic, premium American motor cars, and we just can't be everything to everyone. So we are not going to be focusing down in the $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 range, but we're going to put all of our resources and all our efforts in making premium American motor cars from compact size on up. Here's one from Steve Norton of Salisbury, Maryland. It says, Buick's bonus programs, example, salesperson scramble, are great. Can we expedite payment in order to make them even more motivational? 90 days is the current norm. We have received input from a few of you on the salesman's payments not getting there as quickly as they should. And we have made a number of changes in the payment system to speed it up, but apparently we're not fast enough yet in all cases. As I talked, I believe it was at the last chat, however, the number of errors that you transmit to us causes a real slowdown. We have to go through every one, and about up to 40% in some programs have errors in them that have to be corrected before we can pay. And that really bogs it down. So please get the right serial numbers in, get the right information in, and you can help speed it up yourselves. This is from Phil Goshow of Telford, Pennsylvania. He said, if Buick is becoming more market-driven, why don't we have a four-door Regal or a minivan? Well, we will have a four-door Regal. That'll be coming along next year. We have put more investment into new programs in the last year and a half, 2 years, and it will continue on for the next few years, than Buick has ever put in. We have more new car programs coming out. We just can't do them all at the same time. But we're working hard to get our whole model line turned around. We think with the new Riviera and the Centuries this year that we made a significant step there on top of the Regal that we introduced and the Riata last year. And we agree with you, we just can't do it all at once. This is from Andrew Pope of Pottsville, Pennsylvania. He said we would really greatly appreciate a local new car announcement show. Cars are sold by salesmen, let's get them excited too. Well, we agree, and of course the salesmen's meetings after the announcement show are put together for that very reason. Every year we do decide, should we have one show that people travel to, or should we move it around the country? And there are pros and cons of doing it each way, but we appreciate the input, and we'll certainly consider that for the upcoming year. Okay, the last one's from Darrell Long of Humboldt, Iowa. He said, I had a Park Avenue buyer tell me he liked the Buick advertising on national TV, so he decided to look at a new Park Avenue. Keep up the good American road advertisements, and we'll certainly do that, Darrell. Thank you very much. Well, that wraps it up for this time. Good luck to you. Keep the emphasis on Riata, our new Riviera, our Century, great Skylark, and have a real good year. Thank you.
The great American